Simu yako ita capture the whole thing. Sara, hiyo capture vizuri. Hi.
So, just need one glass. Hiyo ingine
mic yako iko wapi? Mic yenu iko
or 2 glass. The bullet is just grab this here. Weka glass hapa. Kenya wataona kama mimi ni mchoyo. Hata maji. Haya, ndio hiyo. Yeah, mimi niko tayari. Kama tufanye small introduction.
for airplane mode. Phones ziko kwa airplane mode. Thank you so much, Mhesh, for hosting us at your Bungoma home. I'd love to really tell you that your house is very beautiful.
Thank you very much, and you are most welcome.
Thank you. So, Mhesh, tell us more about the political wave. How is it taking you?
Yeah, from where I sit, I think we are very well because I have the drive, I have the focus, I have the plan, and I am the people's project. I am not a puppet of anybody, because when you are a project of a clique of people, they will hold you at ransom. Even when you are forming your government, they will try to twist you to appoint people who may not necessarily merit for the positions in terms of assisting you to deliver on your vision. So when I began this journey, I was determined. I knew that political formations would come late, after the parties have done their primaries. Of course, individual members of different political formations will rally behind the candidate, the flag bearer for Gubernatorial on that particular party. And of course, the recent meetings about leaders from Bungoma appearing to endorse somebody, it has not gotten me with surprise. It was expected, because of very many things. But the fact remains that even when you ask 70% of those leaders, they will tell you that I have sacrificed. I've been there for all the team. When Tawe movement was coming up, of course, they made serious attempts to also colonize Bungoma County, and I think I was there on behalf of the whole team. I have made some enemies in the name of Natembea, in the name of Eugenio Malua, because many times I will intrude in their meetings, lecture them, but because I had the support of the people would cheer me up. They would give me some kind of latitude or insurance to lecture them in whatever language that I think was appropriate at that time. I was doing so not because they are my competitors, but because they were fighting for space with one of our principle in Kenya Kwanza, Speaker of the National Assembly, and I was really out to ensure that the influence, if any, for the Speaker of the National Assembly in Bungoma remains intact. And because I'm their foot soldiers, I'm their army, they are our generals, I felt like I should be there for members of our team,
So
including
by
our
team, you mean
individual,
for Kenya?
the whole of Kenya Kwanza.
Okay.
Most of us who are in the coalitions who are supporting our beloved President William Ruto, and even our individual members of parliament. I have been there in Tongaren, where the Tawe movement was positioning herself, as a movement of the president in the future. They wanted to plant a candidate, against our own Secretary General of Fort Kenya. I was there for him. I was there in Webuye East. I was there in Kadui, and I have sacrificed and made a few enemies because I was fighting for them. But their change of allegiance to whatever has happened, I don't really blame them, and I am not bitter about them. I will pray for them. It is their democratic right to decide whom they are supporting. But again, it's still too early because parties will do their primaries, and whoever the parties will front for various positions, every single member of those parties will automatically lie behind that candidate. That is why I have made a decision that I will not fight those who do not support me, because politics is dynamic. Today you are supporting this person, tomorrow you change your allegiance for the other person. And as a governor candidate, I will have a responsibility to ensure that I become the fulcrum, the engine of campaigns for the party that I will fly her flag. And by so doing, then it leaves you with one principle, that I may not try to weaken a person who is not supporting me now. Maybe it will be my responsibility to make him strong.
Speaking of that,
after some time.
Speaking of that, what is your current relationship with Honorable Speaker Moses Wetangula?
My relationship with the Speaker Moses Wetangula is very cordial. Have a close personal relationship with him, very enriching. He has been supporting me hitherto, and I will continue to defend him as Speaker of the National Assembly. I will also continue to defend him and support him as a principal of Kenya Kwanza, but I would find it so difficult to defend him in his position as party leader of Fort Kenya, because majority of his troops, the members of the county assemblies, and members of his party, including the Secretary General of his party, Honorable Chikati, and the chair of the Bungoma County branch, the chair of the Women League, they seem to prefer a different candidate apart from myself. And I think common sense will tell you that if you want to go far, not just in terms of politics, even in relationship, you stay with a person who's happy about you. Don't waste time with a group that appear to be tolerating you. You sit, dine with a group of people that are glad that you are in their midst, people who celebrate you. And there is a singer from Luo Nyanza that sang a song meaning that pendana na mwenye anakupenda. Yule hakupendi, wachana na yeye. That is the principle. And I think from where I sit, And where I stand presently, the love that I experience from the people of Bungoma, from all the 9 constituencies, when I visit them, when they hear that I'm coming, they turn out in large numbers. It means I inspire hope in them. And that when they see me, they see an individual who will hold their hand and march into the future. I represent fresh breath. And at least because I'm somewhere, when I began, of course, I've been told, I've been reliably informed that a clique of people who don't support me, they don't support me just because of jealousy. The fact that I'm very young, I'm young, you know, on record, the country should know that since independence in 1963, I have been the youngest person to be elected member of parliament in Western Kenya since independence. And when I came in and won the seat on a less popular party called Jubilee in 2017, I opened doors for very many young politicians because of my track record here. And I have been told that those who do not want to support me, they don't want to support me because they feel they are my seniors, they think I'm their junior, which I agree I'm their junior because they joined politics even when I was still in primary school, and they are jealous of my political trajectory. If you look around the politics of our country, you will realize that I am among the very few members of parliament in Kenya, maybe 5 or even 3, that have maintained strong grassroots support from the day we were elected to date. Okay. And that kind of makes them a bit envious of my rising political star. And the fact that I went ahead of them to declare that I want to run for governor of Bungoma, and somehow the people of Bungoma received that news with jubilation. So they feel like they have to pull me down.
Mahesh, back to Honorable Speaker Wetangula. Back then we used to see him supporting you so much. Even everywhere you were going here in Bungoma, he was with you, even the president. Now that Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, who is also Moses Wetangula's brother, is vying for the same position that you are vying for as for the seat of Bungoma governor, do you think Honorable Moses Speaker still supports you?
You know, like they say that blood is thicker than water, and I also, because politics can divide families, and I would not be that kind of a person that I would be happy to see the rectangular family split in terms of some are supporting me, others are supporting Tim, and maybe put the honorable speaker Moses Wetangula in a very precarious position. I will give them an option to meet themselves together by assisting them to make a decision that if the whole brigade of Fort Kenya feels like I am not the right candidate, because I can't force myself to them, to their party. So if they feel like I'm forcing myself to them, and that I may want to appear like I want to put them on a collision course into the divided attention, I can give them an opportunity to feel the team as his brother. But of course, I've had him say that he doesn't want to associate himself with the name of Wetangula, but that is their family name. And with me, I have reached a point of no return. I have the support of the people, even before I haven't spell out my manifesto with the people of Bungoma. That one will come at the right time. So with me, I am focused, because when I made a decision that I want to be the governor of Bungoma, the only person that I consulted was my wife. And we are all in sync, because she has supported me throughout. So I made a decision, and then, of course, I have my team, who are just local people. I have around 800 people that we convened, we had a discussion, we looked at many factors, and I managed to persuade them that I have what it takes to march forward insofar as the gubernatorial position for Bungoma is concerned. And to me, that is all I need.
Mahesh,
when you made a decision to be Bungoma governor, of course there are some few things that you saw, and maybe if given a chance, if you gave that chance, of course you're the incoming governor. What should you do? That's one thing that you start with, because of course I don't know that you sana Bungoma, vitu ambavyo ungependa kubadilisha. And I know people from Bungoma, they're watching you and trying to watch these videos. What should you do? The first thing that you do?
Before I answer your question, I am prepared to face off with anybody, because I believe I have the brains, I have the track record, I have the will, and I have the support of both God and the ordinary citizen. I have remained a front runner for a very long period of time. And my political competitors, those who are afraid of my candidature for their own reasons, it will be sectarian reason that may not make sense before the people of Bungoma. They have tried, at one given time, even the governor of Bungoma was not supporting me, and the entire government system. I'm not sure if they have changed or not, but I will continue to persuade everybody, regardless of their rank and file in society. But they have tried. They have brought about close to 6 candidates, and they have all fizzled out. Even the one that they have brought a few days ago, I am sure they may abandon that project, because that group of people seem to be very good in monitoring and evaluation. That once they launch a project, they do monitoring and evaluation. If they realize that that project is not viable, they abandon it midway. It remains a white elephant, and they go to take another one. With me, the train left the station. In terms of what I will do for the people of Bungoma, I will tell the people of Bungoma on what I will do for them next year, the month of May. But what I want them to do now is that I want them to begin evaluating me in terms of how I have utilized the 100 million from CDF that we receive as a constituency. For your information, and I want to go on record, you cannot compare any constituency in Nairobi with a rural constituency in terms of development. I can give you an example. A constituency like Westlands has less than 10 schools. In the entire constituency, less than 10 schools. Kimilili constituency, we have a combined school population of 126. Kandui constituency, we have more than 200 schools. And we receive the same amount of CDF. So you will be wrong. It will be foolhardy to compare how a member of parliament in a city constituency has utilized the same CDF, and you are comparing him with a constituency like Kimilili or Kandui or Tongaren or anyway, any part of the country. I say so because I have been a member of parliament for this constituency for 8 years. Within 8 years, I've revolutionized the schools, which I will invite you after this interview. You can move around and check. I have done magnificent 52-story buildings. We have built schools from scratch. Yeah, it's a school like Nakalina where we relocated the school to a new site and put up the whole school of 14 classrooms and administration block. A school like Rajamungu Primary School. And even as we speak today, we have also begun to tile all our primary schools, do landscaping, put cabro, and phase out the buildings that were built in 1960s and 1970s. You will take a tour to see for yourself. So if you were to divide the number of years that I've been member of parliament, if you were to divide the number of schools that I've built for the last 8 years with the number of years that I've been member of parliament, then you will realize that maybe in a year I've built like 20 schools in a year. But if you were to divide the 9 schools of, like for example, in Westlands constituency, divided by the 15 years where the member of parliament has been, then you will realize that that member of parliament, if you were to mark his exams, you are his teacher, you will simply write down there that please see me with both your parents on Monday morning in the staff room. This is a truth that should remain. That being said, I was already aware, in politics, politics is not different with when you go to war as an army. When you go to war as an army, the people you begin with, you might not finish with them. Some can die along the way, others can surrender, some can be captured by the enemy, and then you may have a new team and a fresh team that you can come together and move forward. So I was already prepared as a trained military person. I was already aware, and I have a manual on how to deal with the candidates who will emerge, considering that the seat for governor of Bungoma is not a reserve of a particular individual. Not for me, not for anybody else. It's a seat that anybody who qualifies can declare to run for it. But just for a preview of what I intend to do for the people of Bungoma. If you walk around my constituency, you will see for yourself. Of course, there have been hard propaganda. Whoever that has an issue with you will continue to have an issue with you regardless of how you look like. If you are slim, some will accuse you of being slim. The same people will accuse those who are fat that they are fat. Whether short, whether tall, people will find something somehow to punch so that they can slow you down. And that is how politics is played in our country. So we have some who have tried to water down my development record. Of course, number one, they agree that I have revolutionized the infrastructure in education in my constituency. I have built magnificent story buildings. But then they reach a time they say, oh, those story buildings are condemned, they are substandard. You will walk there and see the substandard in them. You will actually be shocked that those are just statements by my political instructors to be able to make the people of Bungoma to turn against me. They came up with a narrative that because both the first and third governors come from Kimilili constituency, they came up with the slogan that Kimilili is not a quarry where governors are harvested. And of course, I explained to the people of Bungoma that being born in Kimilili was not my mistake and was never my decision. It was the decision that my mother made when she got married to my father, who happened to come from here. That's why I was born from here. If my mother could have been married in Bungoma town, I could have been born in Bungoma town. And even those people who were trying to accuse me that the reason why I am not qualified to be governor of Bungoma is because I was never born in Bungoma South, Bumula or Sirisia or any other part of Bungoma. Even them, they were fully aware that they were born where they were born because of the decision of their mother. If their mother decided to get married in Masai, hopefully they could be the one jumping hero for the tourists in Masai Mara. So that slogan could not work, So they tried to put roadblocks ahead of me, but that is the nature of politics, and I am committed. I have the will of the people. I am the people's project. And the advantage that the people's project enjoy is that when you are privileged to form government, the people you will appoint as chief officers, as CECs, the people who will benefit from the tenders that will be advertised under your government, they will all be available for everybody. Anybody within the territories of the county of Bungoma will have an equal chance of being appointed CEC, being appointed chief officer, and they will also have an equal chance to win the tender that will be advertised, because nobody will hold you like a puppet to mean you are our project, you have to give this person a tender, you have to appoint this person. So to me, I say, I have the energy and I'm very happy to be the people's project. For your information, in 2017, I won the seat for member of National Assembly for Kimilili on a Jubilee ticket. And I remember that time when there was a very strong opposition movement called NASA. I remember, Kimilili is at the center of Bungoma County. I remember Kalonzo Musyoka will come from Kitale. Raila Odinga will come from Kakamega. Moses Wetangula will come from Bungoma town. And they will all converge at Kimilili T-junction. And they will all rally the people of Kimilili to Nasamin. I don't know, I didn't know to where at that time. But the people of Kimilili were gracious enough not to follow what they were saying. And it was one of the strongest opposition front that this country has never had. But then the people of Kimilili gave me an opportunity. That is the time that I knew that we have much benefits when you are the people's project.
Yes, speaking of that, yes, you were elected through the Jubilee ticket, member of parliament. And then later on you decided to move to Fort Kenya. Are you still going to vie for the governor position through Fort Kenya, or you're going to go back to Jubilee?
I think
in addition to what she has asked, the current party politics in the Republic of Kenya. They are playing a very major role in fronting the candidates due to the current coalition between the president and Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Honorable Tim was supposed to be fronted as an ODM candidate for Nairobi Gubernatorial seat. And now, they have, the team has moved to Bungoma. My question is, do you think that the party politics will play a major role in deciding who will be the governor of Bungoma come the year 2027?
The person you've mentioned that he has left Nairobi for Bungoma,
Yes.
for avoidance of doubt. That person has not come to Bungoma because of his personal conviction. There was a trap that was laid for him. Governor Sakaja for Nairobi is battling for his re-election. It's a do and die for him. And of course, Governor Sakaja was the first Kenyan to embrace broad-based. When he accommodated the remnants of ODM by then in his government with a view of steering forward Nairobi City so that he can focus on delivery of his plan to the people of Nairobi. So, because he's facing some stiff competitions from Babu Wino and of course the person you've mentioned by then. I don't want to mention his name because I'm a very big brand. My support base is very huge. When I mention his name, it's to his advantage. So I don't want to mention his name. So Sakaja has just realized that he needs to begin to do some kind of elimination. So he has used some group of people to kind of, and when you want to eliminate your opponents so that you remain alone, you begin by the quick wins. Those which you can chew double, you begin by them, that those that you don't spend too much time with them. So the first candidate has been the person you've mentioned, and they has somehow managed, because what happened is that Baba appeared to have changed his allegiance. You know, these are people who have survived politically because of the golden finger of the big boss. These are people who have benefited, not through their own intelligentsia and wisdom and plan for the people, but they have been beneficiaries of supporters or members of a particular party. So the members of ODM are the ones that put the people you've mentioned in various positions. So when they appeared when it was a bit clear that Baba and the ODM people are not favorable to them, then Sakaja somehow managed to convince the party to speak with him so that he can be pushed to come to Bungoma, because it came at the time when all the people he was supporting, including himself, the ODM did some kind of grassroots elections for the party officials and I think the guy lost. He wanted to be the chairman of ODM. He lost to Aladwa. And all the people that I was supporting in all the constituencies in Nairobi all lost. And that was a red flag for him. And also the gods seem to have transpired against him. They have just brought him to Bungoma, and they're just simply fattening him for slaughter. I say so because of the support of the people of Bungoma. I am the only person in the Republic of Kenya and in the whole world who can stage a parallel rally to Raila Odinga, and the people leave Raila Odinga's rally to come to me. I am the only person in the whole universe who appeared on a rooftop next to a stadium where the opposition leader by then, Raila Amolo Odinga, was holding his meeting. And all the people left the meeting to come to where I was. That is Baba himself. I think anybody imagining that the person you've mentioned can come to scare me around here, I think that is something that your guess is as good as mine.
Mahesh, back to my question you haven't answered.
Yeah.
You were elected to a Jubilee ticket when you were vying for the Member of Parliament for Kimilili. And then later on you moved to Fort Kenya. And then now Fort Kenya has come up with another, has affronted another leader who is Tim Wanyonyi as Bungoma governor. Are you still going to vie as with the Fort Kenya ticket or with Jubilee or with any other ticket?
Number one, you are wrong, because my name has never appeared on any ballot paper under Fort Kenya Party. 2017, I won on Jubilee. 2022, I defended my seat on United Democratic Alliance Party and in UDA. And the reason why I joined, I closed ranks with Fort Kenya Party was during by-election, and I wanted to test whether the people of Bungoma can accept me as their governor in 2027. So I said I never wanted to walk alone. I wanted to walk with a team of people, the majority. So that's why, and I felt like because the party leader of Fort Kenya was Speaker of the National Assembly, and I thought that it is an opportunity for me to take over the candidature of David Wafula Wakoli as Senator for Bungoma. Hold his hand, move in every part of Bungoma, so that the people of Bungoma can see me. It was like an introduction for me, because I felt in Fort Kenya they will give me a clear opportunity to be the face of the campaigns. Because number one, I was a UDA member of parliament, and the fact that the UDA had fielded a senator in the name of Mwambu Mabonga, I wanted just to use it as an opportunity that number one, I am very independent minded, because I remember we were called by our president, and we were all instructed as UDA members of parliament to rally behind David Wafula Wakoli, and I went against my party's position. That one, I wanted to show the people of Bungoma that I'm independent minded, and you cannot sway me with anything, either with money or power or anything. That I'm an independent minded, and when I decide that this is my direction, that is it. You cannot change me. You cannot use your position to intimidate me into abandoning my journey. So that is what I wanted to achieve. And on record, if I had supported Mwambu Mabonga could have won the Senator of Bungoma. I say so because the difference between Mwambu and Senator for Bungoma now was around 15,000, less than 15,000 thereabout. And of course, if the people of Kimilili could have not followed me to vote for him, Mwambu would have won. This is not will have been the Senator of Bungoma. So that is what brought me together with Fort Kenya. In terms of the question that you've asked me about which party I will run for, there are very many political formations in our country, and my candidature is akin to a beautiful young girl with curves walking on the road, the suitors are the ones who comes to that girl. That beautiful girl, you don't go, you're not, she's not the one who goes to tongosaring men. So the train left the station, my candidature, I made a declaration, I left the current party. If you check my membership is in UDA. Going back to what I said, anayekupenda pendana na yeye, asiyekupenda wachana na yeye. That is the basic principle.
So you no longer have any commitment with Fort Kenya?
I have no commitment. I have no commitment, and I said during the opening remarks that I would defend Moses Masika Wetangula as Speaker of the National Assembly and as a principal of Kenya Kwanza, but I will not defend him as party leader of Fort Kenya.
What do you think about Fort Kenya currently?
I have no time to think about parties. The time that I have is to think about how I am going to implement my manual so that I can wait away any slightest opposition to my candidature that will come. I am committed, and I will use all my time not to think about parties, but to think about the modalities on how I am going to send projects back to the center. That is where I'm focused currently.
Mheshimiwa, I would love to borrow your mind on a current issue that is currently trending in our country. The current conversation that was brought forward by Honorable Raila Odinga on the intergenerational conflict dialogue. I once heard, if my mind serves me right, last year during the Gen Z demonstration, you yourself once tweeted that you are being declared the Gen Z leader. Now, I would love to know your ideology in regards to the current intergenerational conflict dialogue between the Kenya Kwanza administration and the young people of the generation of Kenya. And also, on my second question, I would love you to give us your ideology in matters one former deputy president, impeached deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, in his US tour recently, he dismissed the ideology that Raila Odinga brought on the generation conflict dialogue, saying that Raila and William Ruto have nothing that should benefit the youth of this country, and so there is nobody that should sit and dialogue with them.
One thing I want to tell you is that I am in sync. There as a country, we require a national conclave so that we can have a discussion on what are some of the issues that the government of Kenya need to focus on, and what are the concerns of the Kenyan people. We are living in an era where things have changed. Kenya as a country is no longer governed by rulers. It's a country governed by governors, governed by leaders, and things have changed. We must usher in the era where the people that you are leading must be given an opportunity to tell you on how best they can be led. And that can only be through a national conclave. For your information, even here in Bungoma, there are very many things that have happened in a few days or a few weeks. I am convening also a county conclave in a fortnight, in the next 14 days. I will convene a meeting of around 10,000 people in a place, the venue and the date that my team is currently working on. And in the next 14 days, we are going to have a conclave for the people of Bungoma. I look forward to hosting 10,000 people, where we will have a discussion in terms of our stand on a number of emerging national issues, our stand on the current political situations in our country, and most importantly, on which position we are going to take, dictated by the current political happenings in Bungoma. And by so doing, a number of the questions that you've asked me, and I've said I have no time, we will discuss them during that county conclave, which I want to tell you, I have the capacity to convene a county conclave of more than 10,000 people in the next 14 days. That is going to happen, and from that time, we will take a position on a number of things, because you see, as a governor candidate for Bungoma, from today going forward, I have agreed to be a puppet of the people. I have agreed to be a conveyor belt to process what is in the minds of the people of Bungoma. And I will take each and every opportunity to knit myself to the people to the level where it will be difficult even for the devil himself to detach me from them. You asked me a question about our former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, on what he said when he was in the United States. And I want to repeat again that it's a fact that our impeached former deputy president is not fit to hold any public office, is not fit to run for any political office. There are very many things that I may have done in the past that I may regret, but impeaching Rigathi Gachagua is not part of it. I am a proud citizen, a proud member of parliament. The decision I took to impeach Rigathi Gachagua is a decision that I will defend to the longest period of my life, because he is very tribal. He doesn't see anything without wearing tribal lenses. And I think because of the impeachment that happened at Parliament, I think the guy may have driven himself into some kind of depression, which I have always asked those who are closer to him to kindly consider. And now that he is in the United States, they can consider to admit him in a mental facility. And I want to assure you, if they do so, our former deputy president will be admitted for a period of not less than 5 years.
Why do you think so?
I think so because I have a Master of Science in Occupational Health and Safety Science, and there is a unit that I did which is called Study of Human Behavior in Causing Industrial Accidents, study of human psychology in causing accidents in industrial sector, where you analyze the behavior of a worker and conclude that the behavior of this person cannot make the company to entrust him or her in operating this type of machine, because a small error can cause fatalities in an industry. So I have analyzed the statements of this person, the bitterness, what he says, quote unquote. We all understand as a country what we went through during 07-08 post-election violence. We know what happens in Kiambaa Church. And we are also cognizant of the fact that those who perished in Kiambaa Church, they still have their family members alive. And as a country, we vowed and we got committed that we will always assist those families that were affected so that the scars can heal permanently. Only a psychiatric case can remind the country that a day is coming where what we witnessed in 07-08 will look like it's a Christmas party. That can only come from an individual who is deep into depression, who has psychiatric issues, and having psychiatric issues is not a preserve of a particular group of people only. Even everybody, including all of us and myself, we can get there. So I am simply saying that, my friends, including yourself, the day you see me behaving and talking like Rigathi Gachagua, please assist me, just forcefully arrest me and take me to a mental facility. And on the same breath, I am completely asking those who are around Rigathi Gachagua, including Pastor Dorcas, to consider admitting prayers don't assist. A psychiatric case can only be solved by a psychiatrist, and where he is, we have experienced psychiatrists whom I think that can assist him. So that being said, I will be a bit hesitant to respond to claims that are made by a person whom I strongly believe is slipping into depression. Even in, I think we can give him some benefit of doubt. Even in court, there are some serious offenses where before a person takes plea, there must be a psychiatric report to confirm that you are in good mental stability. Otherwise, because you cannot prosecute or imprison an individual with mental instability. The court will wait until there is a determination that that person is in a stable peace of mind. If you will never be in a stable peace of mind, then you cannot be prosecuted. A madman on the road, if a madman on the road beats you up, you can't sue the madman because it's a madman already.
Mahesh, back to the issue with Tim Wanyonyi. Some citizens of Bungoma think that now that Tim Wanyonyi is coming to vie as the governor of Bungoma, you, Honorable Didmus Barasa, should consider taking part as the Bungoma senator. What do you think of that?
Those are them, and all elective seats available in our constitution in Kenya, it's only the president that requires garnering of 50 plus 1%. All other seats the winner, the person declared to be the winner, is done so by garnering simple majority. There is nobody in the history of election that has won any election by garnering 100% support of the total vote cast. It has never happened. And, even my supporters, who are many, they will argue that differently. So I want to make it clear, categorical, that I will run for the governor of Bungoma, regardless of who my competitor is. For your information, for the people of Bungoma to know that I am prepared to move forward. I am even prepared to run against Raila Amolo Odinga if he decides to come and run for governor of Bungoma. Yeah. So, for the people who are listening to me, you must know that because Kenya as a country, we are governed by a constitution that allows anybody who is a Kenyan by birth to run for any elective seat in a constituency or in a county within the territories of Bungoma. Therefore, this means that even Raila Amolo Odinga, the enigma himself, is free to run for whatever seat anywhere. So I am telling the people of Bungoma that even if it's Raila himself who will try to come and run for the seat for the governor of Bungoma, the people will decide.
Mheshimiwa, my last two questions as we conclude. Yesterday there was an interview that was held by the Secretary General of Edwin Sifuna on matters of the national government and the current MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding between President William Ruto and Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga under the broad-based government. Sifuna, as the Secretary General of ODM, declares the MOU or the broad-based government null and void. According to you, do you see that the MOU and the broad-based government has worked for the betterment of the people of the Republic of Kenya? Is in regards to the Mulembe Nation of Land. Currently, there is a certain force that has been brewing inside the Mulembe Nation, called Tower Movement, led by the Tanzania Governor George Natembeya. My question to you is, as a voice inside the Mulembe Nation in matters leadership, do you think that Governor George Natembeya in any way can be compared to people like Masinde Muliro and other figures that have led the Mulembe Nation to where it is today in matters leadership? Or can he be compared to Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula?
That is a very good question. I never wanted to say this about Edwin Sifuna, but because you've asked me, I think I will say it. For your information, Sifuna and I were circumcised in the same way. He is my age mate whom we share a lot of things in common. And in our culture, I am not, if I fight with Sifuna, then a goat must be slaughtered, because we are commonly known as Bakoki. We all belong to an age set called Basawa. People were circumcised between the years of 1996 and 1998. So we have such a strong bond. Yeah? If I will circumcise my boy, I have to give Sifuna a cow. You know, if Sifuna's son comes to my compound here during that rite of passage, I have to give them a goat And I never wanted to say this, but I'm going to say this. The discussion of forming a broad-based government began many months behind the date that it was announced. There was an agreement that ODM will forward experts to join government. And there were many names of the potential cabinet ministers that were to be considered. And Edwin Sifuna's name was there. As the Secretary General of the party, his name was there. Then somehow, his name was removed because his leaders preferred Wycliffe Oparanya. And they felt like they should not have two names from the Mulembe nation as experts. So that is how Edwin Sifuna's name was removed. Of course, there were many discussions and many lobbying. I happen to have been among the people that Sifuna approached just to ensure that we push his name through so that he can be appointed cabinet minister. But of course, there are very many of other dynamics that are favored Ampeso Oparanya, including an attempt by some people whom we believed were sponsored by Edwin Sifuna to attempt to go to court and argue that Ampeso Oparanya have an active case with EACC and is therefore not fit to be appointed as whatever. But Baba strongly believed that he's either Wycliffe Oparanya or no another person from our region. And that is how Sifuna's name was dropped from that list. And I think that made Sifuna was a bit very bitter. He did not support the whole arrangements, even when he was reading the MOU, knowing that his name was had been removed. He was reading the MOU like he was forced, like as if somebody had put a gun on his head, and that is understood. So whatever Edwin Sifuna says against the broad-based government everywhere, Kenyans should not take it within the seriousness that it deserves, because they should just take it like a jilted lover, like an interested party. And I think from where I sit, Edwin Sifuna is conflicted in talking against the broad-based government because he was an interested party. He's just throwing the vitriol because he was never a beneficiary. But I want to tell you, if his name was among those that were picked for cabinet positions, Sifuna could be a defender of this broad-based government until Jesus comes. So I think the government, the Kenyan people should not read too much in what comes out of Edwin Sifuna, because I have told the country for the first time that Sifuna is a bitter man because his name was removed, and he thought that being the Secretary General of ODM, then he ought to have been the first to be considered an expert for the country. So he has decided now that my expertise were never wanted in the formation of this government. Now he's appearing on TV and all other forums to share his expertise, his wisdom to the rest of the country.
In regards to that, what do you think about Honorable Babu?
You know, let me tell you, Babu, is a very strong governor candidate for now. Babu, and myself, because of being the people's project, where we have reached, we can win the seats that we are looking for on whatever party, or even without any party. He terrorized the person you kept mentioning from Nairobi until the guy saw stars. He decided to disappear. And we can only say that the guy leaving Nairobi to Bungoma is akin to the proverbial statement that coming out of the frying pan to the fire. It's still the same, still one and the same. So Baba Wino is, if there is a candidate that will give Sakaja sleepless nights, is Baba Wino. Mm-hmm. That one is a fact. And I think Baba Wino and myself, we have some commonalities. Both our opponents, I'm told, are doing opinion polls after every 2 months. Mm-hmm. And consistently for the last 2 years, I think we've been very ahead. That's why they usually abandon projects, this one to the other, one to the other, one to the other. And the difference between Babu Wino and myself is that Babu Wino is a very small difference. Yeah. Babu Wino has 2 university degrees. I have 2 university degrees. Mm-hmm. He has 2 master's degrees. I have 2 master's degrees. I am also a PhD finalist. Mm-hmm. By December, I will have completed my PhD in public administration. Congratulations. And I think we are one of the most educated leaders in our country. And we have the courage to navigate along the political murky waters. This is our time. We are youthful. We have the intelligence of an old man. And we have the charisma of that leader that is required that our country needs to take our country forward. And I think looking at the things that are happening in our country, all those leaders who are in Kano, the best of them is William Samoei Ruto. All those leaders who came from Kano, who germinated during Kano regime, the best of them is William Samoei Ruto. So when William Samoei Ruto completes his term of 10 years by 2032, all those people who are in Kano, can also name them, all of them, they should all retire and go home, so that we can usher in a crop of leaders who germinated during Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta. And so that we can try to now give our country a new dimension of our political leadership. So all those who were in Kanu, Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga, all of them, once William Ruto completes his 10-year term in 2032, they should all not bother us. They should just all pack and leave.
Yes. Because the president supported you so much, even during your campaigns as Bungoma governor. The president used to support you a lot. What do you think it's his take on regards to now what the Bungoma leaders are doing. Most of them have abandoned you. What do you think is the president's take?
I think there is no leader in Bungoma who has abandoned me. The English definition of the word abandon, it means somebody who was supporting you and they temporarily halt their support for you. For your information, those leaders whom you are saying they have abandoned me, they never supported me. If you go and check the records, yeah. Of course, some will say that I've never reached out to them, but I have my own campaign strategy. What I am doing now is popularizing myself. You know, taking myself to the people so that people can see me, people can know me, can know my behavior, can begin to scrutinize me, can begin to evaluate my capabilities. Then later on, after I have now developed or come up with a clear blueprint on what I will do for the people of Bungoma, I can now look around and say, whom among these people can assist me in marketing the idea that I have across the country, across the county of Bungoma? Then I can now begin to look for potential allies. I can now begin to look for example, if we have now the teachers, we have Kupet and the KNUT. If I tell the KNUT and Kupet to support me as their governor candidate, based on what? Based on what? But sometime next year, when it will be ripe for the candidates to spell out their manifesto, that is when we will approach the organized professional groupings, the KNUT, the teachers, the business community, to tell them that we are the best bet for Governor of Bungoma because this is what we are going to do for them. But now, my manifestos are in the kitchen. They are being cooked. I go to the kitchen where the manifestos are being cooked every week to test, and I can tell the people of Bungoma from the look of things, the salt is sufficient, yeah, the soup is very nice. I am confident that my manifesto sometime next year, when we will launch them, there will be a killer punch. My manifesto will drive the last nail on the political coffin of my political opponents.
I asked you a question to remind you about George National.
Very good question. You cannot compare all the current crop of leaders with the Masinde Muliro, because the syllabus is completely different. The current leaders, including the one you've mentioned, like myself, like very many leaders of today, we somehow now we have a say in terms of what development the government should initiate in our county. The governors who are here, they have been given a blank check and the resources to run their counties with the autonomy that comes from our constitution. Masinde Muliro was fighting for political space. There was no devolution at that time. You get the point? There was no devolution at that time. There were no bursaries that he was giving. There were no schools he was building at that time. You know, he was an opposition figure. His role was to fight for repeal of Section 2A so that we can have multi-party democracy, And because the syllabus was different from the syllabus of the current leaders, you cannot compare the two. You can't. It's like if you want to compare between Paul Terregat and Musa Otieno, who plays football, or Congestina Acheng, the boxer. You can't compare the three because their lines are completely different, right? And for your information, the people who have always been campaigning on the flip side of Masinde Muliro, Wamalwa Kijana, I don't know, this and that. That slogan, it doesn't hold water nowadays. Because those who are 4 leaders, they played their role, they exited the political stage, and we have a whole generation who doesn't know them. For your information, I am 40 years of age. I've only seen Masinde Muliro, the pictures. I never saw him. At least I saw Wamalwa Kijana when he was vice president. By then I was first year at the university. And I believe I have, as my sister was born in 1994. She's married with about, she was born in 1991. She's married with about 3 children. Her firstborn son is in grade 8. She doesn't know American because from 1991 to date, she's more than 30 years. Yeah, so we can't really compare our current leaders with those ones of our forefathers because they both operated within a completely different political space. Yeah, but all these political players are to the benefit of our region. We are not equal. We have some who are erratic. We have some who are calm. Yeah, we have some who are by their own nature, they are a bit diplomatic. They bombard issues with decorum. We have others who do things without a formula, who say what they want to say. That is not a weakness; it's a strength that our region should cash in. And I think as we progress, the politics of our country, of our region, will just take shape. Yeah, some will falter, some will disappear. But from where I sit, I think in 2027, thereabout, we may experience a biwot, a Olentimama, a Mudiawori moment, where when you are watching TV, when the results are streaming in, you see breaking news. Long-serving Cabinet Secretary Nicholas Biwott has lost his seat. The Vice President Mudi Awori has lost his seat. Vice President Musalia Mudavadi has lost his seat. I think 2027 might be the year where some people have dominated the political space for too long, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. I think they may be retired. The possibility of them being retired in politics by the voters, I can say that possibility stands at around 70%. I think I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahesh, for your time.
We have time. We can proceed.
Or we can proceed.
You can keep.
One last question.
Yeah.
If your brother the mayor proceeds to the presidential candidate, are you in a position to support him? 100%.
like I said before, I am a Democrat. I have a very open-minded person. I don't support people because they are my tribesmen. I don't support an individual because he's my brother, or my sister, or my wife, or whatever. Whatever that will persuade me to support an individual is not how that individual looks like. It's not where that individual comes from. It's not about the tribe of that person, the professional background. But I will be persuaded by an agenda, by a philosophy, by a track record. And if I will be persuaded by him in terms of what he will offer for our country, why not?
I have a question about our current governor, Governor Kenneth Lusaka. What do you think about him? As in, people have been complaining, a lot, the people of Bungoma, that the governor is very corrupt. That our governor is not doing his work accordingly. What can you say about that? Now that you are going to be the governor of Bungoma coming 2027, if the people of Bungoma allow.
Number one, Ken Lusaka is the current governor for Bungoma.
Yes.
I, Didmus, Wekesa, Barasa, I'm currently rebranding myself. I'm currently resetting myself to factory settings, but of course with the eyes set on running for the governor of Bungoma. I've made enemies before because of defending some people. Part of my rebranding is to mend fences with the people that I have bruised in one way or the other,
Yes.
so that I can persuade them that I'll be the best governor for Bungoma. I am not willing to also speak against the people that I'm persuading to support me. It is not my business to oversight the current governor of Bungoma. That is the business of the members of the county assembly of Bungoma. That is the role of one individual called Nongesa, who is the current leader of majority in the county assembly of Bungoma. I have no business of doing monitoring and evaluation for public consumption about the governor of Bungoma. Yes, I am currently doing monitoring and evaluation about his performance in terms of identifying where he has not done right and where he has done well, for the purposes of continuing with whatever good that he's doing and disregarding whatever that I feel he has not done well. For your information, I understand Bungoma like at the back of my palm, because my project about my graduate diploma in project management was about the effects of strategic management in constituency development fund, a case of Kandui constituency. My dissertation during masters in public administration was also about Bungoma. It's titled, you can go and Google, you will see it. It was about determinants of effective implementation of devolution support program, a case of Bungoma County. Even my PhD dissertation was also about Bungoma. In my PhD dissertation, I am looking at why do the people of Bungoma don't like the government?
Yes.
You know, why are they usually unhappy about the service delivery? You know, so The title of my dissertation is about.
You complained a lot about the flowers.
Yes.
Bungoma town,
So
remember?
the title about my dissertations at PhD level is effects of county government branding on service level satisfaction among SME in Bungoma. So in terms of understanding whether the governor of Bungoma has done well or he has not done well, what are the people saying about his government, I understand it at the back of my palm, but I will use it to shape my campaign messaging, my campaign manifesto. It is not for public consumption. It is for my own understanding and how I will use it. On how I will use it to ensure that, because every leader, there is no leader who can be condemned 100%. Yeah, we see things differently. That's why at times we say so and so has failed, he has not done well, because we tend to listen too much to ourselves and to the level where we feel like I could have done it differently. He only does things maybe differently from what I perceive, right? And I will use my analysis and the answer which I could have given you to provide direction on how my manifesto will go like. About the flowers in Bungoma, I think there were very many people who were involved. And I think that is a story for another day, because it cannot just be mentioned in a footnote. It requires 3 chapters.
Mheshimiwa, my last question. There is an ideology that was brought the other day by Honorable Raila Odinga during an interview on NTV, where he went ahead to suggest, come the year 2027, we should abandon using voters' card to vote to using ID cards, because that is what identifies us as the citizens of the Republic of Kenya. I would love to hear your regards towards that matter of Raila Odinga.
For your information, if you go to the archives of the things I said, I already have a legislative proposal to repeal the Elections Act, so that Kenyans can be allowed to vote using their identity card. Today, if you want to identify yourself as Kenyan, if you appear before anybody or any organization that want to confirm whether you are Kenyan or not, they will not ask you to produce a voter's card. They will ask you to produce a national ID card. For you to get a voter's card, you must produce a national ID card. A national ID card is a requirement on whether one qualifies to be a voter or not. If the national ID card is the principal document that confirms that an individual is a Kenyan, then why should we not use it to vote? In my amendments to the Elections Act, I want to change the definition of a voter's card and then replace it with the national ID card. I want also to change the mandate of IEBC from voter registration and expand the definition of voter registration to include a process where they will liaise with the registrar of births and deaths to get the database of people who are registered as Kenyans, clean it out, and migrate the same to their voters database. There must be a link between the registrar of persons and the system of IEBC in terms of today. If a young man acquires a national ID card, those details are automatically migrated to the IEBC database. And then there were questions about that when you are voting for a presidential candidate, you can vote from any constituency in Kenya. That is what part of my amendments also say. That when you are voting for president, you can vote from anywhere. And that because we want to migrate the database of from the register of births and deaths to be voters, then we are simply saying that IEBC will provide an opportunity for those Kenyans to update the areas where they prefer to vote from. If it's Kimilili, then they will give you an opportunity to make that decision on whether you want to vote from Kimilili constituency or Webuye East. In the absence of that confirmation, then IEBC will assume that we want to vote from your place of birth as provided for when you are applying to get your ID cards. Of course, when you apply to get your ID cards, you say where you are born location, sub-county, and county. And we also want to make it clear that contrary to what has been happening before, the reason why many Kenyans don't turn out to vote for the president is because at the point of going to cast their vote, maybe they have not traveled. If they register to vote from Kimilili constituency, for example, and maybe they don't have transport, they are working in Mombasa, they don't have transport to travel from Mombasa to come and vote from Kimilili. We want to change the law to make it clear that when you are voting for a governor or for a senator, you can vote from any polling station, you can vote from any constituency within that county. And when we are voting for a president, you can vote from any part of the country because the president represents everybody living in Kenya. And anybody living in Kenya, you have a right to decide who your president will be. So, for example, if you registered as a voter in Kimilili constituency and you are in Mandera, then you should be allowed to vote for the president, participate in presidential elections, because the president serves all Kenyans. And if you registered as a voter in Kimilili constituency, you should be allowed to vote for a governor for Bungoma from anywhere, whether when you are in Bumula or anywhere, because the governor of Bungoma and the senator and the women rep will come to serve everybody living within the territories of Bungoma.
Two questions. You have made it clear that you will support Mheshimiwa Mutavula as a Kenya Kwanza principle. We are aware that around this region, especially, is being condemned for not achieving the 30% from the government. I don't know whether you are able to defend him on that or to actually spell out if the community or the region has got the 30%. Number two, kindly just highlight some of the development achievements that you have made here. We have seen the Uduma, we have seen others. So maybe there could be others that we don't know that you could just let us know.
Number one, I have said that I'm going to have a conclave of about 10,000 people in the next 14 days. I have not said in the next 1 month or in the next 1 year. I have been very clear in particular that the conclave is going to happen within the next 14 days, beginning from today. And I look forward to assembling minimum 10,000 people so that we can have a conversation on very many issues, including the one that you just mentioned. But there is one thing that is very important that I want to say here. There is no government that is bad. If you look at it in terms of providing development within our region, especially in the current political dispensation and the current governance structure of our country. Because number one, we have CDF that goes to all the 290 constituencies. That's number one. Number two, we have shareable revenue that is shared among the 47 counties in Kenya. Those are still the work of government. And lastly, the national cake that is in Nairobi, because of our laws, there is scramble for that cake from all the 290 constituencies. And every area, the Constitution has given them an opportunity to decide who sits on that table to ensure that the interest of the areas they are coming from are catered for. That is basically what happens. And we have had two opportunities. Opportunity number one is that Kenyans themselves will make a decision by electing their leaders who will sit on the national table to advance their interest. The Constitution has also gone ahead to mitigate that in the event that those leaders who are elected slips on their duty and there is nobody negotiating on behalf of their people, it has also provided another legislation that compels the head of government to adhere to regional balance, gender balance, when they are forming the executive and all the appointment in government. The Kenyans made that decision to ensure that during that scramble, at least they have some kind of representation that are trying to push things to the area. And you cannot say that William Ruto has not delivered to our region without also having a discussion about, does the leaders we elected to join William, does those leaders that William appointed to join him, have they put the interests of the people where they come from ahead of their personal interests? So that's a question. For example, if you look at my constituency here, yeah. Of course, currently, even if I want to be governor of Bungoma, but I'm currently the member of parliament for Kimilili constituency. Yeah. The road which you have used to come here, you've seen I'm putting tarmac. You've seen the works are ongoing very fast. I don't make noise, but that this is a very rural area, and that tarmac is going up to Chepkwati. We have another also tarmac in Ushirika there, as part of Huroro is going, so the two roads will join somewhere there. You get the point? I have put in about, I got 50 million to put up a Huduma Center. Now it's a roofing center, so that the people from Kimilili, Mount Elgon, Webuye East, and Tongaren don't have to walk almost 20 kilometers to Bungoma town to get government services. In my constituency, there is no single school that is mud-walled. I faced all of, there were about 18. I changed all of them. In my constituency, you will experience that in the villages, the first story building that is visible, that the people have seen, is a story building of a primary school, because that is where the foundation of knowledge begins to emancipate. You get the point? In Kimilili constituency, it is the only constituency in Kenya where I have said, and we are committed, that by June next year, the period which the courts said that CDF will lapse, in the Kimilili constituency, it could be among the very few constituencies in Kenya that are all our primary schools We will have phased out all the old buildings that were built in 1960s and 1970s, and we will have tiled all our primary schools. We will have put capital in landscaping in all our primary schools. We have already begun.
So you're
Yeah?
speaking about only Kimilili or?
No, me, I'm speaking about Kimilili because you see, I am the member of parliament for Kimilili constituency, and I said, government, the way government operates, the constitution has given the people of Kenya an opportunity to elect their people through a ballot. The people will go to scramble for the resources in Nairobi on their behalf. It has also gone ahead to compel the executive and the president that when he is forming his cabinet and the executive, he must adhere to regional balance. What was at the back of the minds of Kenyans when they said those two things is they were alive to the fact that the national budget, the national cake, people scrambled for it. Right? So me, I am telling you how I have scrambled for the national cake to the benefit of the people of Kimilili, because currently I'm the member of parliament of the people of Kimilili. If you ask the member of parliament for Kapchai, he will explain to you how he has scrambled and what he has gotten for his people. Same to Tongaren, same to Buye, the two Buye, same to Tongaren. So I will simply taking you through what I have used my ability and powers to get for the people of Kimilili.
Mheshimiwa, coming back to your manifesto, how big is it?
My manifesto is not 20 pages. My manifesto is only 5 pages.
Okay.
My manifesto is in 2 categories on 50-50 basis. 50% of my manifesto doesn't require monetary investment. You know, there are very many things that the people of Bungoma are suffering from, and providing a cure doesn't require monetary investments. It only requires a policy direction, or a policy review, or a policy guideline. That's number one. The remainder of the policies is that I have seen MCAs across the country struggling for what they say World Development Fund. Yeah. As a governor of Bungoma, there is no single MCA that will struggle for World Development Fund in my tenure. Because what I will do is that we will get the budget. That is the development budget for the people for the people of Bungoma. Of course, in the development budget, there is that first charge that goes to pending bills and the rest. The amount of money that will be available to fund fresh projects, that amount of money, we will divide that money equally across the 9 constituencies and equally across all the 5 wards. We will engage the people of Bungoma in a very structured manner, similar to what we do when we are coming up with CDF proposals. We will engage the people in every ward. We will do public participation in 2 aspects. The first public participation is guided by the available budget per ward. We will now engage the people that we have this amount of money available to develop this ward. What do you think that it will make you happy that this money can go to fund? And what would have guided them on healthcare, APCT. So that document that will emanate from that ward will be taken to the county executive member for finance and economic planning. That is what will inform the budget estimates, and taken through the legal process of budget making as prescribed in the County Government Act. So, because during my tenure as governor of Bungoma, there will be no business of any project ya governor or any project ya MCA. All the project will be for the people of Bungoma. And I am not a believer in legacy projects. I am not a believer in, for example, in Bungoma here we have a referral hospital that is being built at the cost of close to 1 billion. Which the people who began that hospital felt like it will decongest the Bungoma County Referral Hospital. I have a different view. And my view is that
so
the only way.
Being expanded?
Let me finish. The people who were there at that time, they felt like Bungoma County Referral Hospital is congested. So they felt that decongesting Bungoma County Referral Hospital is building another 400-bed capacity hospital next to it. And separating the pediatrics wing of the BCRH into a different site in a different building altogether, so that you can decongest the BCRH. That philosophy never worked. I believe that the only way to decongest the Bungoma County Referral Hospital is to build capacity of all the 9 sub-county hospitals within Bungoma County to the level where they are able to deal with the emerging medical attentions to the people of Bungoma, and that there is no point, there is no rationale of an individual walking from Kapsokon to Bungoma, from Tongaren to Bungoma, from Cheptais to Bungoma, for small things which can be attended to by the sub-county hospitals within their walking distance. And I have said, of course, I can't go into details. My plan for the healthcare sector in Bungoma, I can't go into the details, but I can just tell the people of Bungoma that during my tenure as governor of Bungoma, given an opportunity, is that all the 150 dispensaries, we have 150 dispensaries in Bungoma County. We will resort them to a level where mama akienda hapo kutibiwa, akifika hata ugonjwa unapotea. Ama akimalizwa kutibiwa, akiambiwa aenda nyumbani, anasema please, wacha nilale hapa siku ingine 2 ndio niende nyumbani, please msiniache niende nyumbani sasa. Because the area mahali itakuwa ukifika unaona tu uponyaji. Now during my launch of the manifesto, now I will explain the specific things that I will do to make sure that our healthcare across Bungoma, there will be a place when you are as a patient, you have a feeling that you are at the right place, you are in the hands of the right people. Number 2, in the education sector, we have had people who are, even our chiefs, everywhere when you attend funeral, you see the government officials, they are on a campaign to rally our young people to enroll themselves in the VTCs, the village polytechnics, so that they can acquire skills. But our young people are not joining those vocational training centers. The reason being that our young people are very proud. They don't want themselves to associate themselves with a college that appears like it's a shanty. During my tenure as governor of Bungoma, given an opportunity, our young people will be admitting themselves in the vocational training centers, and they will be very proud to take a selfie from the background, showing the background of their college. If they are men, they will send to their girlfriend that I am in college, and their girlfriend will be very happy. Currently, if a young man dares to take a selfie in the village, in the vocational training centers the way it is now, if you take a selfie and send it to your girlfriend, you will be blocked instantly. because
The
they
one we
don't
have in Kisiwa.
they don't look like Kisiwa is not a vocational training center. Kisiwa is a national polytechnic. I am talking about that one is a national polytechnic. It admits people from every corner of the country, and there is a qualification, the highest qualification for you to meet before you are given admission. But I'm talking about the vocational and training centers, commonly known as village polytechnics, where even a young man who never went to class 8, you can be enrolled to acquire some skills. Where even if you got you have already certificate of class 8, or you got an E, or you got a D minus in Form 4, there is a course for you that you can enroll into. So when time comes, we will explain on the modalities on what we will do to ensure that those village polytechnics becomes a place where our young people will be proud of, and they will be happy to enroll, to learn. I have so many things. In agriculture, if I ask you, for example, of course I'll not give you the reason, but I just want to give you, to throw this question to you. And you can go and ask somebody, will give you a wrong answer.
Mhm.
Bungoma County is a blessed county. We have favorable climatic conditions that support agriculture. Our people are blessed to have large tracts of land, 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres, 10 acres, 20, 30. We have some even with more than 50. We have 2 planting seasons, long rains and short rains. Today, at least people wanakula maharagwe. But in the month of January, February, March, we have biting hunger. Our people have no food to eat. They have no food to eat. All the maize that they harvested, 20 bags, is not there, it's completely finished, and the people are sleeping hungry. They are surviving on water, fresh water, with salt. They are surviving on wild vegetables known as enderema. These are wild vegetables that you can go along the river and you just have and eat. You ask yourself why. The answer is, during harvesting time, like in the next few months, we have middlemen who are positioning themselves by looking money to come and buy this maize. You know, and you can't stop people from selling their maize.
It's true.
Because they have children who want to eat chapati, so they will take 2 gorogoro, sell it to a middleman who will buy 1 gorogoro at 40 shillings or 30 shillings. You know, you want to take to buy a Christmas dress for your family, your wife, you are not employed. Of course, you get 2 bags of maize, sell. So by the time you get to January, they have sold all their maize to middlemen. And they buy 1 bag, they buy 1 gorogoro at 20 shillings, even at times 15. Boom. The middlemen will go and keep this maize somewhere, and the gorogoro which they used it to buy, they actually cut. Most of these people are usually from central Kenya. They would cut the gorogoro and add another layer. So when they are pimaring this maize, wanashika na maybe. So 1 gorogoro which they are buying actually is like 1.5 gorogoros. So they go and store it somewhere, and maybe also add mahindi ambayo yameoza. And then in the months of January, February, March, they will bring the same maize to sell to the same farmer. 1 gorogoro maybe at 150 shillings. Na hiyo gorogoro ambayo wanatumia kuwauzia, nayo wamekata chini, wamepunguza. So actually, when you feel like you are buying 1 gorogoro, is actually a half. You get the point? So, what do we do to ensure that our people who are blessed to have large fertile land, who have maize, but they sell them to middlemen. What do we do as a county, as a governor, to enable them not to go through what I've just explained, by not stopping them from selling? I will provide the answer next year on what I will do as governor of Bungoma to ensure that there will be no single citizen in Bungoma who will sleep hungry because they sold their maize to a middleman. I have an answer that I will tell them what I will do, but that answer will not contain, is stopping them from selling will never be part of the answer. When you ask an expert who has gone to school that what do we need to do to ensure that people of Bungoma have food security, they will begin to talk about horticulture, very many things which the problem which is not the answer. The reason why people of Bungoma, people of Kakamega, people of Trans Nzoia, they sleep hungry in the months of December, January, February, is because all the maize that they harvested wameuza to a middleman na shilingi 20, shilingi 30 because of magonjwa nyumbani, because of wanunue pia mkate kwa boma, watoto kule mkate blue band, wengine wanalipa school fees na wanauzia mtu mwenye anaenda aweke akuja auze na bei kali, and you can't stop them. So I have an answer which I will tell the people of Bungoma next year.
Mheshimiwa, as we conclude, I will divert you again back to the national politics. You told us that we know regarding the Shambas and impeached Deputy President, so he doesn't stand a chance to vie for any position in the Republic of Kenya. But we have a set of other leaders that have come from the opposition. These are figures that we have seen in the political arena for so many years, and all of them are fronting themselves against President William Ruto in the 2027 general election. I want, in your own words, to describe to us these leaders. To begin with, we have David Maraga, the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and Martha Karua, and in conclusion, former Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Otieno. In your own words, what do they stand a chance?
Number one, currently in our republic, William Ruto is focused on implementing his campaign pledges. That is what he's focused on now. We as his lieutenants, we are also focused on giving him unequivocal support for him to deliver whatever he promised Kenyans on our behalf as a coalition. That being said, we are also alive to the fact that we both have people who are popular amongst electorates from all the political divide. We have some who are popular and are currently in the opposition. We have some of our people within our own government who are unpopular, maybe for one reason or the other. That is a fact which cannot be washed away. In politics, when time for campaign comes, it will no longer be about the people you like. It will be about the people you want to win an election. When that time comes, after delivery of a government agenda to the people, after we have delivered what we promised to Kenyans, a time is coming, maybe next year, where the president will now change the agenda and convene his troops. Yours truly being one of them. And this time around, when we will reconvene, it will not be about how to implement whatever we promised Kenyans at that time. It will be about how do we win a second term. Who will have that discussion? And one thing will happen. We will evaluate regionally the capabilities of our leaders. We look around in Bungoma, because our principal in Bungoma, in Western Kenya, is Musalia and Moses Wetangula. If we will realize that the support of Musalia and Moses Wetangula has dwindled, and that we have other players who are more influential, if it's Oparanya, or if it's Cleophas Malala, or if it's Eugene Wamalwa, or if it's George Natembea, then we will bring them on board. We will, when you are assembling a political campaign machinery, your options are beyond the coalition that you are in. And it includes also the opposition basket. Politics is about interests. So I am simply telling you that we are currently focused on implementing our development agenda to the people of Kenya as a Kenya Kwanza government. But our time is coming, maybe next year, where we will reassemble our campaign machinery. And during that time, it will no longer be about the people we like. It will be about the people we need. So if Eugene Wamalwa will be part of him in terms of a person that we feel when he comes in, he can kind of increase our numbers and make us more likable and more popular, we will bring him on board. We will bring on board everybody. Even Matiang'i, you know, if you look at the arrangements of the opposition, you've seen some poor people line up, where some are earmarked for Speaker of National Assembly, others Speaker of the Senate, others Prime Cabinet Secretary, others want to be ministers. You know, when that time comes, we will negotiate. We will reassemble. We will raid the opposition camp, break it. We can even break it in 5 different pieces. Renegotiate with them. Find out which position they can play. Look at their experience and expertise. This Fred Matiang'i, the way he is, the way he's comparative, how can we benefit from his intelligence, his wisdom? Where can he play? Some want to be Attorney General. You know, you get the point. So we will reassemble the team. And I want Kenyans to relax. When we are saying William Ruto 2-term, we are not stupid. We are not speaking from a point of ignorance. We are speaking to the fact that it's not yet time to assemble a campaign machinery. And that when that time comes, we will raid the opposition camp, split it in 8 different pieces. We'll negotiate with individually, any one of them, renegotiate and form a formidable team and move forward so that our 2-term becomes a reality.
So, Mheshimiwa, when is most likely going to be your manifesto? The manifesto launch, I mean.
My manifesto launch will be at the time where I'll be sure that no one can implement my manifesto, because we have an active government as we speak today in Bungoma, led by Ken Lusaka. And like I said, that 50% of my manifesto doesn't have any monetary investment, is only by way of policy direction. If I bring them out now, the players, the policy makers in the government of Bungoma can change them and implement them, and they will be no longer lucrative to talk about. So when I will be sure that time has come where the county government of Bungoma have got no window to implement anything new, when the assembly will be about to go to Sinadine, that is the time that I will launch my manifesto. Because I want, by the time I will launch my manifesto, that excitement must be carried to the ballot and give a killer punch to all my political opponents, including some city dwellers and tourists who have come back to our county after a period of 56 years.
So parting shot, Mulesh.
My parting shot is that I want the people of Bungoma to be like the people of Kimilili. The people of Kimilili were kind enough to overlook the weaknesses in me and gave me an opportunity to serve them as a member of parliament. Every individual in our country or the whole world has one or two weaknesses. There is no human being who is complete. They were focused on what they can benefit from me as opposed to what they think is a misgiving. They gave me an opportunity at the age of 30. It made me join the history of our land, that apart from Salia Mudavadi, who was elected at the age of 28 at that time, I was the only member of parliament at that time to be given the mandate as a member of parliament at the tender age of 30. And later on, I will open doors to very many young people who were able to get an opportunity regardless of their age, the likes of Peter Kalerwa Salasia, because of what I did that made the people know that it's not the age that determines how revolutionary an individual can be in terms of development, but it's about the way that person is wired that makes the whole difference. So I want the people of Bungoma not to look at anything else. And I am inviting them to scrutinize how I have used my CDF to revolutionize the education sector in my constituency. I want them to call their relatives in Kimilili to confirm the schools I have built. I want them that every time they have an opportunity to visit Kimilili, let them move around to see the way our schools look like. And I want also to make a commitment that contrary to what my opponents say, to mean that my buildings are substandard, they're not in good shape, I want them not to listen to my political detractors, but to make an effort to visit those schools for benchmarking so that they can put their members of parliament to more accountable to deliver the same, because we almost get similar amount of money from NGCDF on average. And the people of Kimilili are aware that we have made a commitment. We have laid down our plans to ensure that all the 71 primary schools that we have in our constituency, by June next year, all of them, none of it will have buildings that were built in 1990s and below. We are going to phase out all those buildings to magnificent structures with tiles, with cabro, with the proper landscaping. We are putting heat repellents in all the roof, that where you are in a classroom, there will be no heat, the temperatures will be regulated. Even if the children will have had githeri for lunch, they will not sleep in the classroom. That is how serious we are as a constituency. And in the next 3 months, we will have completed the first batch of 30 schools that we have already send the money to the school PMCs, and currently we are doing procurement. At the moment, we have completed around 3, which they are ready for commissioning in the next couple of days, which my team is working on to have them commissioned. And I also want to ask my supporters to love our opponents. They should not abuse our opponents. Because the seat that we are gathering for, everybody has a constitutional leeway to run for it. It's not reserved for us. And then many other players can come in. So I want them to relax. They should not feel agitated. I want them to love our members of parliament. I want them to love all members of our county assemblies who went for a meeting with their opponents. That is not a mistake that they did. That's within their democratic rights. And I want to ask all their supporters of our current members of parliament to support me. I even ask those who feel like their members of parliament have not done well and maybe they have other preferred candidates also to support me. All the candidates, I want them to support me because as a governor candidate, I will not take sides. The people of Bungoma are knowledgeable enough and are competent enough. They will give me competent members of the county assembly whom I will work with as their governor. So my last remarks will be that when the date is out, we are identifying people from all the polling stations in Bungoma. A number of them into a counting conclave that will happen in the next 14 days. If you are not mobilized to attend that counting conclave, it should not mean that your opinion doesn't matter. And everybody will be invited to attend that conclave. We have to begin from somewhere. So the people that we will select, they will just be that this is where we have reached, but we will be sending out an advert to invite everybody. I want to ensure that that meeting will have a minimum around 10,000 people, but if the other people will come, it will be 20, it will be 30, there will be no problem. We will have a whole day discussing on taking a position on a number of things that are happening within our county and within our country, and also as an aspirant. I would want to listen from them, constituency by constituency, on what are some of the issues that have been neglected by the Blues for the longest period of time, so that they can be part of my manifesto. My manifesto will be people's driven, and one thing that you must do to ensure that your manifesto is people driven is that you first must listen to them before you come up with a final document. Thank you very much.